we have feed that's over the target, and it's saturated with bad guys. People with weapons on the rooftops, weapons in the vehicles, position, like they have the whole place locked down. Like they are ready. He's calling the ground force commander from Bravo 2-3, the ICTF on the ground commander, and saying, this whole place is saturated with bad guys. I have a B-1 with a fucking 1,000-pound bomb, whatever, like prepared to drop it. Just give me the word. We've had legal look at it. Everything's legit. Armed, and Bravo 2-3 says, nope, we got it. We'll take care of it. We got the force. We're ready. They don't know we're here. We'll be there shortly. And they went in there, Bravo 2-3, with ICTF guys, and they smoked everybody.
Welcome to Combat Story. I'm Ryan Fugit, and I served Warzone tours as an Army attack helicopter pilot and CIA officer over a 15-year career. I'm fascinated by the experiences of the elite in combat. On this show, I interview some of the best to understand what combat felt like on their front lines. This is Combat Story. On today's episode, we sit down for round 2 with Darrell Utt, a longtime Green Beret and retired Master Sergeant, in an episode that is chock full of his combat experiences from not only his time in Iraq in 2006, but then some stories from his time in 2007, which one day will hopefully be a sequel to his book that's coming out in late November, early December, Growth to Glory. If you didn't catch round 1 last week, Darrell grew up in a really tough home where he even stopped his mother from shooting his father at one point. He found his way to the Army and became a Green Beret, serving in a host of different places, but was able to serve as a team sergeant for the first time in 2006, taking a fairly junior team into Iraq. We left off at the very beginning of 2006, where he had just relieved one member of his team on arrival and was almost relieved himself, getting a second chance by one of his commanders. Their first successful mission is nothing short of amazing and made for the big screen, so sit back and relax as you enjoy some amazing combat stories from none other than Darrell Utt. Okay, we're back again. As we left off on the previous session, you were at what I think we could have described at one of the lows. You just arrived in your first combat team sergeant role. You had to let somebody go effectively as they land in country for their own actions. The right thing to do, but not easy to do in any scenario, let alone combat. And then you had your own run-in, almost lost a sensitive item.
Did
lose, recovered later.
Yeah.
But when asked by obviously senior leadership point blank, you take responsibility, this radical responsibility for it, which is the right lesson I hope everybody listens to, including my own kids, when they find themselves in a similar spot. But this is where the book really talks about, Grit to Glory talks about 2006, and this is the intro to that. So where does it go from here, this low apparent starting point?
Yeah, so fortunately for us, we had some wins. Our first win, we ended up capturing someone. We captured someone that the previous team had been trying to capture the whole entire rotation. So we got a win under our belt, and it was a significant capture because we ended up getting so much intelligence, and it really just really started everything off on a great foot for us. Besides that little hiccup, I mean, that really took us to the next level. So
can you take us through that?
Yeah,
that event.
So this is the honey pot.
Okay,
honey trapping.
If you have heard this the first time, that is okay. Like, I love this story. Please, if you could share it.
So yeah, this is the honey trapping chapter, and I know there are a lot of people that really enjoy hearing this story. But we had someone that we were after, and the previous team, the fifth group team, they did everything they could to capture this guy, and they couldn't bring him in. He was talented. He was skilled. He was operating in a very difficult area, which was Solder City. And typically 2006 Solder City, you were typically going to eat IEDs, improvised explosive devices. You were going to eat IEDs on the route in. You were going to get in a big ass fight, and then you were going to eat IEDs on the way out. So it was a very difficult area to work, and there were a lot of political maneuvering type things going on with the leadership of Iraq as a country was led by a Shia. And this gentleman was all about targeting Sunni Al-Qaeda all day long, but didn't really like so much the Shia targeting. And then you had the Iranian influence. So I think in the simplest way I could really explain this or describe like the scenario, it was PhD level stuff. It was a high level PhD level that we were dealing with and we were trying to operate in. And keep in mind, we're not a national level asset like Delta or SEAL Team 6, which I want to make a quick point on. It was really funny. My book went through the Department of Defense review process, and they were very sensitive to any mention of Delta or SEAL Team 6. And it kind of made me crack up because I've listened to a lot of podcasts, Combat Story, Mike Ritland's, Sean Ryan's, and it's like, dude, is anybody listening to these podcasts? Because they talk about some pretty crazy shit. Stuff I didn't hear about. 26 and a half years. And it's like, dude, you guys were like doing a 3-man team in Africa and you had naval gunfire and you were up against like 100 dudes. Like, damn, that's awesome, bro. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of like a little minor point that it was kind of funny that the few redactions that this book had something to do with Delta or SEAL Team 6. Just the mention of, like a mentor that was in Delta or whatever. Thought that was kind of funny. But PhD level environment that we're operating in, and because we're not a national level asset like Delta or SEAL Team 6, we didn't have all those assets like those platforms and, signals intelligence and all the different enablers that they had. We didn't have that, so we had to get creative. And at our team house, we had at Camp Apache, we had a whiteboard that we used for strategizing, and it's popular in the military. A lot of folks use the whiteboards. But we started looking at the target package for this individual that we ended up capturing on the honey trap.
Yeah. Can I ask you about the whiteboard?
Yeah.
I haven't had to think of this because in an aviation unit, we would never have used a whiteboard for something. What's on the whiteboard in your team room? Is this like if you see a crime show or an FBI show, it's like a target package and then linked out to different people? Or is this you?
It's basically us on the whiteboard strategizing. Like, hey, give us some ideas. Like what, we got the whole team where we're just trying to figure out ideas like, hey, like, here's our target. This is his age. These are the things that he's doing because this is what fifth group shared with us. The target intelligence packet. We called it a tip. So we have all of these different things that we know about the target. And then we just start putting ideas on the whiteboard. Like, hey, we could try to get his phone number and track it, even though we didn't have all of that capability at that time. I mean, we had the dude's phone number, but, we didn't have the ability like Delta and SEAL Team 6 to go after that phone like they did. But we would just come up with these different ideas like, hey, maybe we could do this or we could do that. So basically what happened with the whiteboard, I was able to combine turkey hunting, because if you think about turkey hunting, like what you're actually trying to do, you're trying to replicate a female turkey and you're trying to bring the male turkey in and you're trying to kill the turkey. And then like with the honey pot, like with the female is, dealing with the male, which is one of the oldest books.
Time tested.
Yeah, time tested. CIA are really good at that. So the whiteboard, we just started like piecing things together. And then, talking to the team, like no idea is a bad idea, like bring it out. And I think you, as a leader, you have to make your people feel comfortable where it's like, I'm going to say something. Everybody's going to think, hey, shut up. You're a jackass. No, it's like, man, bring it. Like, if you're a dude about this age and you think you're a baller and you're killing Americans and, you think you're so important and all that, like if someone called him on the phone, because we know his number, and it was a female voice, if you were back in the States and you were single and someone caught your attention that first 5 to 10 seconds with something so awesome, so sexy,
Can't say no.
what would you do? Would you at least listen? So that's the things that we started talking about. Then we started adding stuff together, putting it on the whiteboard as like a phone call. And it was like, okay, well, here's a problem. We don't have a female, So, we're just putting all the stuff on there. It's like, okay, so we need a female. We actually need a female that can talk the talk. And, that's probably from that line of business, like the prostitution side of the house, which a lot of people, you think Iraq, Muslim country, all that, like, hey, they have all those things just like in the United States. So that's the whiteboard, just idea after
really
idea, things we need, all this type of stuff. And then we just started building it together and putting it together. And it's like, okay, we're going to need an interpreter. We're going to need this. We're going to need that. And our lead Iraqi that was working with us always said, hey, if you guys ever need anything, and we asked for weird shit. Like we asked for mannequins and we got mannequins because we had bunkers on the rooftop. So it was like, hey, let's mix it up a little bit. I mean, they see these bunkers. They don't see anybody up there. Occasionally they might, but let's see what happens if we put the mannequins up there and we leave them up there for like 48 hours. Are we going to have reduced attacks? So we tried all kinds of crazy shit. But, our guy was like, hey, if you ever need anything, ask. Nothing's too weird. It was like, hey, man, we need a female that has a sexy voice and can talk the talk. And he's like, okay, you got my attention. And I was like, we need her to be very aggressive. Like we need her to dig in up front and say, like she's talking to, like as soon as the phone answers and it's like he says hello, she's going deep, dirty. And that's what we ended up going with. And we really didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, it was risky. It was risky. But we had tried everything else and the previous team had tried everything else. So we felt like, hey, we have to give it a shot. We owe it. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to all the people that are serving over here because this dude has killed Americans. A lot of Americans, not just a few, like a lot of Americans. He had a lot of blood on his hands, and he killed a lot of Iraqis too. So we felt it was worth it, and that first call got his attention. He was hooked. He was hooked from the first call. And then one call led to 2 calls, led to 3 calls, led to 4 calls, and this went on for a few weeks. And they eventually said, "Hey, let's set up a meet." And
just real quick,
yeah.
Can you speak to like, did you meet this woman?
I did meet this woman, yes, and she was definitely played the part. Like,
really,
she was the real deal. She was the real
deal.
deal.
So probably a prostitute over there.
Yeah, and she was beautiful. She was a beautiful Iraqi woman. Yes.
Was it hard? I mean, I assume we're paying her. Like, yes. But was there any heartache for her doing this?
No.
I mean, it could be risky, I would assume.
Yeah, it was definitely risky. But she was safe. She was never going to be exposed like face to face.
Yeah.
It was always going to be a phone or like, hey, I'm here. I'm waiting for you to meet me. She was never going to be there.
That's so creative.
So to her, it was such an advantage and such a benefit to do something way low risk. Spoiler alert. They don't really treat the prostitutes very well in Iraq. I mean, they're known for like putting cigarettes out on their back and crazy stuff like that, and a lot of abuse and cutting and stuff like that. So, we definitely made it worth her while.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was definitely a benefit for her. And I think we all kind of enjoyed it because it was so new and something so fresh, and it was so outside the box. And it was actually working. Like every phone call we could see, like, man, she just played to his ego, like stroke that ego. That, she couldn't wait to see him. And I mean, yeah.
I'm trying to imagine your team like sitting in there with the whiteboard if it were the reverse where you had to lure a woman out. Because this is like, you guys are like, all right, we're all guys.
Yeah, we're all guys.
Like,
with this,
we know
yeah.
this would work for us.
Like, I would listen. Like, if I'm single and I'm not with anybody, and some woman calls me and she has a very smooth, sexy voice, and she starts talking crazy stuff.
Like, this
I'm
could
probably
work on me.
listen to her.
But could imagine the opposite. It's like, all right, we got to get this woman out. What do we say?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it works.
You know, it got to a point where we did kind of, we were in the background and we're hearing the discussion. And when they finally got to the link up part, like, hey, let's run into each other. Let's see where this goes. Like, I want to meet you. You want to meet me. Let's do all this stuff. When we actually heard the target say, like, hey, let's meet here in this part of town, daylight, because there's not a lot of, the military might be out and about driving around, but they don't do a lot of capture type stuff in the daylight. So it was really funny for us to listen to all these things, because that was exactly what we were planning on doing, was a daylight hit. And it was right outside Solder City. So, it's a very dangerous time period. And the way that we set that mission up, she was going to be in a clothing store, and he was going to come there and meet her. And we were going to have the whole place. I'll just kind of briefly go over it, the Reader's Digest version, but we were going to have the whole place kind of locked down. And then we had Iraqi scouts in a Iraqi vehicle, civilian vehicle. We had a bread truck that we had Iraqis in the front, and then we had a sniper team in the back that was providing overwatch just in case something went down. We were going to have sniper support on target. We had the 101st. We had the rest of the Special Forces team at it was either a police location, Iraqi police location, or it was a military location. They were minutes away. And then me and Ryan... this is when I'm wearing the infamous green Adidas Iraqi top, lime green slush, lime green top that people kind of laughed about later. But we were in a vehicle. I was kind of like orchestrating everything. I was kind of like the actions on the objective guys, the team sergeant. And it was supposed to be a really clean hit. We were going to let the Iraqis go into the store, surround the place, take the dude down. And it was going to be easy peasy. Of course, she wasn't in that store. Like, she was just on the phone. She was trying to draw him in, but we couldn't get him in. And we kept driving by. And yes, we're in like a little Iraqi SUV. It's got tinted windows. Ryan blends in a lot better because he's got dark hair, dark beard. I got like the reddish blonde stuff going on. But we did have the tinted windows. But we're still... people are seeing, it's a small area, small town, and people know who belongs and who doesn't. And we'd already been by this area a couple times. And she starts ratcheting it up a little bit, like the sex talks, like, hey, he wants to know what she's wearing. And she's like, hey, I'm wearing the full burqa or whatever the hell it was. And he's like, oh, okay. And she's like, hey, don't worry about that, 'cause I'm sexy underneath. And he's like, oh, really? Like, what are you wearing? It's like, I want to show you. Yeah, I mean, dude, It was getting crazy. Off the charts. It was getting off the charts. But actually, he was parked, but he was like perpendicular to the target location. And we were doing like our third drive-by, and I was thinking for a second, like, this is probably not going to work out. And... our interpreter's in the back seat, and he's working the phones, and we're listening to everything. And he like points and he sees him. He's perpendicular to the target. He's got the phone to his ear, and he's walking around, and he's got like a little pebble under his shoe. Like, he's kind of messing around with while he's talking to her. And she totally had his attention when it's like, hey, I'm sexy underneath, like that like, man, he was focused. And, I knew at that point, because he was perpendicular, the sniper team couldn't observe him. He was out of their vision. So we had our Iraqi scouts that were right there by the clothing store in a civilian vehicle, civilian dress, of course. They couldn't really do much. So what I decided to do was kind of flex, like right then, change the plan. And I wanted the QRF, like the Iraqis, the 101st, the rest of the Special Forces team, to like collapse the target. I want everybody in their positions, and I decided I was going to take them down myself. And I had Ryan drive up. I got on the radio, collapsed the target, and as soon as I saw the Humvee, because they were only 2 minutes away, as soon as I saw the Humvees coming, and I knew I had a lot of ass just in case this thing went south. I knew I had a lot of guns and operators. I got out of the car with my rifle and my green lime jacket, and I busted my ass to this dude, and he didn't even see me coming, dude.
Just a quick word from our sponsor, Delete Me, and we'll get right back to this combat story. Having spent many years in the security space, I'm acutely aware of how much personal information is floating around on the web and what bad actors can do with it, from identity theft to phishing, harassment, doxing, unwanted spam calls, and more. That's why I personally recommend Delete Me. Delete Me finds and removes any personal information you don't want online and makes sure it stays off. Sign up and provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts take it from there. I love the regular, personalized privacy reports they send me, showing what info they found, where they found it, and what they removed. Delete Me isn't just a one-time service. Delete Me is always working for you, constantly monitoring and removing the personal information you don't want on the internet. Take control of your data, keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now, at a special discount for our listeners, today get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting COMBAT to 64000. Text COMBAT to 64,000. The only way to get 20% off is to text COMBAT to 64,000. That's COMBAT to 64,000. Disclaimer, message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. And now, back to this combat story.
Didn't even see me coming. And I grabbed him, threw him to the ground. He didn't even have time to get it. He had a Glock. Because we actually thought we were going to have to kill this dude. Because, just who he was, who his background was. He's a fighter. He said he's going to go down in a blaze, whatever. So, I really thought I was going to have to shoot this dude and kill him. But he was just so oblivious. Like when he heard the vehicles, because I waited for the vehicles and I knew I was covered. His attention was toward the vehicles. He didn't know I was coming. I was in a civilian vehicle when I got out. So he's watching them like, who the fuck are these dudes and what are they doing here? And he's probably, partially all turned on and ready to go, man, all fired up. And then here comes this big sweaty American, 220 pounds dudes, and just grabs him and just throws him down like, a sack of potatoes. And, Ryan was able to park the car, provide security. The interpreter came up. Dude, it went so fast.
No backup for him.
No backup for him.
Wow.
He had no backup. No backup. If he did, they kind of melted. They melted in and they didn't do nothing. They were probably like, "We're out of here, dude." So that was a big success, and that was a daylight.
Wow.
Civilian vehicles, civilian
new team, like all these young guys, and
all
this is one of the
guys.
First ops that they.
One of the first.
How
ops
good does that
did.
feel? Like outside the box.
That felt amazing.
For them, that was had
like
to be big.
That was big, dude. That was like redemption. And then, we didn't really know. Like Fifth Group had spent tons of time with this guy and doing intel, reports and tracking him and what's he doing and how many Americans he's killed, all that stuff. Like they really knew the dynamic. To us, he was just kind of like a name, and it's like, oh, we want to get this dude. They try to get him. Well, let's get him. But once we got him and we took him back to the detention facility, and then they started interrogating him, and all the information that he ended up giving up was tremendous. It was tremendous because, just to go back a little bit to give you a little bit more context, like I said, it was game on. If you were Sunni, Al-Qaeda, game on. We'll kill thousands of them every day. national level assets. That's all they really cared about. JSOC, CIA, all that stuff. But this is the time period when we started seeing a shift. And it was like, there's a lot of Shia target sets out here. Like, all the reporting that we're getting is Shia. And it's Hezbollah and IRGC and all this special groups. Like, there was a lot of Shia stuff that was going on that a lot of people didn't really care about. And I remember, I'll never forget this. Our company headquarters was in Baghdad, like in the green zone. They were right beside the CIA compound or annex, whatever they called it. So our company had a good relationship with the CIA. And we also had the CIA that came out to Camp Apache and would talk to us. And they were dealing with the Iraqi army who was adjacent to us. I think they were working with someone from the Iraqi army. That was kind of their business. But I remember the CIA case officer after we did that hit, and it was like, hey, did you guys get any, like, we're looking for anything Shia, like top Shia Iraqi police or blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking to myself, like, you guys don't have any of this shit? Because we were basically able to get like org charts. He had like crazy shit in his vehicle in the trunk. Yeah. And I remember I was naive to the agency, to the CIA. And the case officer was like this really small, petite, pretty female, young, very good at what she did. And I remember asking her, like, hey, here's all the stuff that we got, if it's going to do you guys any good. But like, if I give you a name of Colonel Mohammed Ahmed, whatever, commander, Iraqi police, Sadr City, like, what do you guys do with it? She goes, we're going to cold call him. I'm going to have my interpreter cold call him and say, hey, would you be interested in working for the United States government? And I think she said something to the effect of like, hey, we're probably not going to say the CIA, but it's like, hey, would you be willing to work? And we would compensate you very well. And I was like, that's what you do? That's it? Like, I thought there was some like
all this suave
shit.
Stuff. No.
Yeah, like that's what like. And so I think that started them off on what they needed to start working, getting more information. And it was a win-win. And we would help them and they would help us. But that really got things rolling for us. And then it gave the leadership some confidence in our abilities. Because when you're asking to do a daylight, civilian vehicles, civilian clothes,
bringing in conventional for, I mean, you
bring
have
in conventional,
right?
right outside Sadr City, which was just a tough area to work. So it was a huge step in the right direction for us. It definitely got that bad taste out of our mouth, and it's like, okay, now we're working towards something. And this kind of leads into something else that I feel really helps set us up the rest of the rotation. And this goes into Morgue Day.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, we had a lot of Iraqis that helped on Camp Apache. We had local Iraqis that provided security for us. They were mostly Shia or Kurdish. And we're in a Sunni town, so they were like, if these dudes do anything, we're going to kill them. So it was good for us that we had Shia and Kurdish, because sometimes they had those, if it's Sunni,
sure.
There was issues there. But, so we had local Iraqis that provided security. We had a local Iraqi family that helped us cook and clean. And, we had a lot of support. We had people, we weren't on a large forward operating base. There was no fly fishing lessons for us, which I heard about later on.
Did they have those?
We did.
I had never heard of that.
They did.
One.
They
That's
had fly fishing lesson and they had salsa dancing.
I've heard salsa, but
dude,
fly fishing?
We didn't have any salsa or fly fishing. Yeah. Not at Apache, dude. We were in the Bronx, man. But we had to have local Iraqi support. When we put the steel I-beams on our Humvees, we had to have support to do that. And luckily we had someone that could help us facilitate all that. And it wasn't like we were eating, MREs, meals ready to eat every single day. When we could eat on the economy, someone would go and get us fresh produce or, whatever. So that would help. Vegetables, whatever. But that would mean the people that work for us, would occasionally go out. And Adamia, man, was a tough area. It was a tough area. And, not too long after we did that very successful honey trapping mission, one of our guys, a young guy, should have been in college instead of in a very violent, dangerous war zone. But one of our guys went out, and I think he was getting some fresh bread and some other stuff. And he's in Adamia. He's a Shia. But he felt safe. He's in Adamia. He's picking up some bread. And, he's in one of our vehicles, has a cell phone, all that stuff. And he gets killed. He gets murdered. And I was in the green zone when it happened. And one of our dudes gets murdered. And Dave, called one of the guys that work for me, 18 Bravo, weapons sergeant. He calls me. He's like, "Hey, man, all hell's breaking loose at the compound." And I'm like, "Dude, tell me, what is it?" And he's like, "Hey, so-and-so, Mustafa, or whatever his name was, just got murdered. And he's at the hospital/morgue area. And our guys want the body back for a proper burial and all that. Like, it's very sensitive how they do all of their ceremonial funeral stuff. And they're not willing to give up the body. They're basically, laughing at him and stuff like that. So it was a tricky situation. And for me, at the time, dude, I was very callous, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. I was kind of like, this isn't our problem. Like, and to me, it's like, well, everybody's freaking out and they're doing the wailing and they're, punching themselves or pulling out their hair or whatever. All the shit that they do when they're super upset and mad. But I was like, dude, they're in the most dangerous, we're in the most dangerous city in the world right now, pretty much, in Baghdad. They didn't think this was going to happen. I mean, there's people dying every single day. So that was my first initial reaction. Very callous, very distant, very like, okay, what do you want me to do? And Dave just was like, man, I think it would be better. Because I was like, Dave, you need to tell me, do you think I need to come back with the team? Or are you guys good? Like, they're going to keep crying or whatever. Like, just tell me. And he goes, hey, since you have the best relationship with the lead guy, I think it would be best if you came back. It's like, roger that. We'll be back in 15 minutes. And we loaded up. We hauled ass back to Camp Apache. And then we pulled in, and it was like the weirdest shit that I'd seen, listening to the wailing, the crying. Yeah. I'd never been exposed to that. And, the men are crying, their shirts are ripped open, and it was very, very surreal to me. But I had a moment of, I guess maybe humanity, or I had a moment where I saw, it wasn't the mother, it was like the aunt, of this kid. And she was crying, and she didn't look right at me. She was just kind of looking over me. But for a minute, it was like we connected, like on a human level.
Yeah. Culture aside,
language aside, you're Iraqi, I'm American, and we like connected. And it kind of like brought me back to my, because I'm used to being like this callous, like make decisions, life, death, and it kind of brought me back to being a human in a.
How old was your son at the time?
My son was probably 11 or 12. Yeah. So he was a few years older, okay. But not much.
Yeah.
Not much. And, I connected, and then I started thinking like, whether we want to admit it right now because it's still kind of early in the rotation, and I didn't really know them that well. I mean, I knew the lead guy. That's who I dealt with. I didn't really talk with the cooks and all that other shit. Didn't care. And someone else dealt with the guard force. So I dealt with the lead guy, and I didn't really know the rest. But I had a moment, and I was like, hey, we're all on the same team. And how we deal with this situation is going to have probably a huge impact. And of course, being special forces guys, we're in the hearts and minds business anyway. Like, this is like our bread and butter. And this is very important. This is I realized it, me and my captain, we both realized this is a significant moment for us. If we fuck this up, we're probably going to have to deal with it later. If we do this right, then we'll be in a good spot. This means a lot. This is partnership, relationship, one-on-one type stuff. And when I looked at it through that lens, like, hey, this is significant. This man, like you said, besides culture, all that stuff, he's part of our team. He works at our compound. He's not American, but he's part of our team. He might as well be, and if he was an American, we'd be right over there right now getting his ass back, and we'd probably be burning shit down to get him back. No doubt. And that's how we treated it, man. We had a conversation and said, hey, this is the right thing to do. We're going to go over there and we're going to get this kid back. And we talked to our lead guy, and they sent some of their people with us. So we had a few vehicles. We went over there to the hospital. It's described very well in the book in detail. I'll kind of just go over the high notes, but this is where the morgue kind of comes into play with, because of the Civil War igniting, they didn't have enough room to store all the bodies. So they kind of did like a makeshift morgue, and they had like 100, 150, maybe more bodies into this place. And when we went there, it's like, hey, you have one of our guys and we want him back now. And the doctor was smoking a cigarette, and he's like, are you fucking crazy? I don't think he said the F word, but he's like, are you fucking crazy? You think we have a dead American soldier over here? I was like, no, I didn't say American. He's one of our guys. He's Iraqi, but he's one of ours, and we want him back. And he's like, hey, man, we don't want any trouble. You guys take your guy. If you can find him, take your guy. We'll do the paperwork. And it's like, hey, this is the right thing to do, and we want to get him back to his family. Because they have like a certain time limit.
Yeah. Bury him.
So me and the lead guy, we went down into this makeshift morgue, and it was a terrible, terrible experience. Like we mentioned earlier, I'll just kind of my lead Iraqi guy ended up finding him.
You're literally looking through bodies.
Looking through bodies
people.
Bodies for a body. And my Iraqi guy found him. Sure enough, that was him. And he went back to get some more people so we could bring him back to the vehicles. We had like one of those one of those pole-less litters that we ended up putting him on. So we found him. We got him out of there. We talked to the doctor. Everything was good. I talked to my lead guy, and I said, okay, we got the body. And of course, all the guards are super upset seeing the dead guy. I said, okay, what do we do now? It's like, hey, we're going to go to a Shia shrine in Qaeda, which is right across the river. And they're going to wash the body, pray over it, do all that shit, wrap them up. And our lead guy was really worried because he had made some phone calls like, hey, they expect us. We're going to be there. Please don't point your weapons and all that stuff. And I was like, hey, man, I started realizing in my mind, like, the dude I'm talking to right now is pretty damn powerful. He's making phone calls, and then he's saying, hey, you guys can go into Qaeda. It's good. Don't worry about anything.
Wow.
And I was like,
we need to talk later.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to file this one away for a rainy day. Like, this dude's got some power, which kind of goes into another different story. But I was like, man, okay. So we went into Qaeda. We were very respectful. We let them, we didn't touch the body. We let them deal with the body. They took it inside. They did all their special stuff that they were supposed to do, prayed over it, rinsed it, washed it, wrapped it. And then he came back out in a box.
And you guys stayed there?
We stayed there. We stayed there and pulled security for them while they were inside.
Oh, really?
We
Wow.
did. We did.
Okay.
And we were very sensitive to where our weapons were oriented and all that stuff. But we weren't going to be out there defenseless. Like, we still protected ourselves. And because there were Al Qaeda that were trying to come into Kadamia and would do a V-bit every now and then. So we were very sensitive to that. But when they all came back out from, because it was like an hour-long process, maybe more, and we were just sitting out there. And when they came back out, I noticed something different. Then I'd never seen it before, and we'd been there a couple of months. They were different. There was something different. And it was a different look, the way we exchanged glances. Like there was a respect, like an unspoken respect or an acknowledgement. Like, you guys are doing something that you don't have to do. This is extra. No one's making you do this. It was that kind of thing. Like, I can't really describe it that well, but it was just something I picked up in seeing every person that walked out. And it was like, it was an acknowledgement of like, these dudes are kind of special for what they're doing right now. They don't have to do this. Mm-hmm. They could have told us to go fuck ourselves.
Yeah.
And they would have still had that body over there, and they weren't going to give it back. So I talked to our lead guy once the body came back out in the wood casket thing. And I said, okay, what's next? And he said, well, the last thing is to take it to the family. And I said, okay. You know, we're a couple hours into this thing. And I was like, where's the family at? It's like, oh, it's south of the green zone or wherever, south of Baghdad. And I was like, okay. I was like, so we're going to take it to the house and they do all their stuff. And then after they say their goodbyes or whatever, then they eventually bury the person, something like that. And I said, hey, you guys know exactly where this house is, so we'll let you guys lead. You know, we're going to follow. We're going to do the same thing. And he's like, okay. So we went south of Baghdad to where this dude's house was, and we did the same setup, man. We let all the Iraqis deal with the body and the little wood casket thing, and they went inside the house, and we pulled security while they were doing their process. And I thought it was very appropriate. We used to carry a lot of cash, you know, just for emergency situations and things like that. Each guy would personally carry, you know, a couple $100. And I thought it was important. We collected up, I think, close to $1,000. Because we were just like sitting there like, man, I want to do something.
Yeah.
Like,
Man, that's interesting.
yeah, I wanted to do something to kind of like say, we're very sorry, because if we weren't here, your son would probably be in college and probably have a girlfriend and be wanting to get married at some point, and now he's in a box and he's dead. And it's kind of like, well, it's probably because he was affiliated with you guys, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I felt a little guilty about that. Collected up close to $1,000, gave it to our interpreter, who gave it to our lead guy, and he passed it on to the family. And once again, I saw that acknowledgement and that, like, that thank you and that, you know, hand to the heart kind of thing. And I swear to God, man, when we got back to Camp Apache, everything was different. Because you got to imagine, man, we're rolling into this place, Camp Apache, Adamia, with all these Iraqis. We don't know who's who.
Yeah.
We don't know. And it's like, okay, we got all the security cameras and HESCOs and barbed wire, concertina wire. But how easy would it be for this dude to see 6 of us doing PT, flipping tires or something like the guys love to do? They were crazy. And he has an AK. He can kill 6 dudes in 3 seconds. One of our own guards.
Yeah.
Not even leaving the wire, not even getting hit with an IED, not getting hit with a V-bid, not
6
getting into
SF
a
guys.
firefight.
Yeah.
6 dudes, maybe more. One of our own people. So we're worried about that. After that day, everything changed. We were worried about them poisoning our food.
Yeah.
You know?
Hit all of you at once.
Yeah. We're worried about sleeping at night and the fire starting everywhere. Dude, we were worried about crazy shit all the time. I mean, that's normal. I mean, that's part of the gig. That's part of the job. But everything changed after that day.
Wow.
And it was like instant. And it ended up carrying into something else that happened later on that is super significant because of what we did on that one day. that one day that we said, hey, we're all a team. If that was an American, we'd go get his ass right now. So we're going to go get him. He's on our team. Well, a few months later, it would all like reverse itself. So one of the things that you never want to hear, and I don't know, maybe you did hear it. You probably did. Is a Dustwind. And it's kind of a crazy acronym, and you don't hear it very often, but it's like duty, status, whereabouts unknown. And it's when someone is missing in combat and you don't know like their status. Like, are they a prisoner? Are they with friendlies? Like, did they go AWOL like Bergdahl? Like, it's a Dustwind, right? You never want to hear that. And one day, it was a couple months later, we got a Dustwind call. And it was these 101st kids, 101st Airborne Division, which I am a part of. I'm a former 101st guy, just like you
That's
are.
right. Yeah.
And we were working with 101st guys. But these 101st guys were down in Yusufia. And they were guarding. I think there was like 3 of them. It was one vehicle, 3 dudes out in the middle of fucking nowhere. I think they called the place like the Alamo or something like that. But anyway, they got hit by Sunni, Al-Qaeda insurgents, whatever. And they killed one guy right there by the vehicle. And then they captured the other 2. So they had them. Al-Qaeda had these 2 dudes. And this area in Yusufia, we called it the Al-Qaeda Rat Nest. It was a tough area. And if you ever want to read a really good book about that time period, and I actually cite this as a source during my Dustwind chapter, it's called Black Hearts. And it's about the 101st Airborne Division and like the Triangle of Death. And that was when the squad that went rogue, and they ended up raping and killing this young Iraqi girl, and a lot of death, both sides, a lot of IEDs. They were in a very tough area. We called it the Al-Qaeda Rat Nest. But actually, these guys that was part of this unit, these 3 guys. So one guy was dead, and they had 2 Dustwinds. So we immediately, Dustwinds like 911, police officer, like, shots fired. And you got everybody and your brother. It's like, what can we do to help? What can we do? And the only thing that we could really do is, with our network, is like reach out and start pinging our network. Hey, do you know anything about these missing American soldiers? What do you know? Where are you at? Blah, blah, blah. How do you know it? Is it third hand, fourth? All that stuff. So that's what we did. We activated our network, and we actually started getting a little bit of decent information, or so we thought. We didn't have a lot of people down there in that area because it was a tough area, and everybody's super paranoid,
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And we started getting a little bit of information that we thought we might know where they were at. And down in that area, there's a power. It was either a power plant or a thermal plant. I can't remember. Yusufia power plant or something like that. We were getting reporting that they were in that general area. It's a huge area though. So we were starting to get information trickle in. And then of course we're like, hey man, we will guarantee you, your family's safety. We'll get you to America. Like, dude, we were rolling out everything. Like, we'll promise you a jet to fly you back. Like, we really, it's a all hands on deck. You do everything that you can. And we started getting a little bit more information. And the problem was we couldn't get helo support. We weren't the unit that was going to do a hostage rescue. We knew that. We are not a national level asset. Like, there's plenty of people in Iraq that would have done that type of mission. But we thought we owed it to our brothers from the 101st to do something, like anything. And we just kept imagining them like, man, it's probably ungodly what these guys, these young soldiers are going through right now. Yeah. And the only hope that they probably have in the back of their mind is someone's going to come for me.
Yeah.
Someone's going to come for me. I'm a missing American soldier. They they will come for me somehow, some way, and maybe I can endure whatever it is they're going through, this ungodly torture. Someone's going to come for me. And that's what we just kept focusing on. And it's like, what can we do? What can we do? Control what we can control. We can't get helos. The area down there was, the way they did the roads, it was like green. Green means you can drive forever. There's no IEDs. You're safe. Yellow, there might be an IED. Maybe.
Yeah.
Red, you're probably going to get hit with an IED. And then black, they had black. Black was, you're going to get your ass blown up. Guaranteed. All their roads down there were black.
Oh, my God.
So we couldn't get helos. And then they were worried, like, hey, you guys are working on single source information. How can you dual source it? So, we were constantly going back like, well, shit, man, we got one person telling us one thing. This is the grid. It kind of lines up. It makes sense. This is what they're describing. We can't get helos. And then it's like, okay, how can we dual source it? How can we talk to someone else? And hey, can you run this number? This is where our guy says he is, and he says he sees, whatever. We're trying everything we can. And then we finally get to a point where we're going to submit like an operation packet, a CONOP, that we're going to try to submit like, hey, we're going to go down in that area and we're going to do the best that we can. And we can't get helos. Our information's not 100%, but we're going to take vehicles down there and we're going to do what we can. And it was just, man, it was tough. It was tough. And so my team leader, my captain, he's working on all that stuff. And we start getting the vehicles ready. And we're going to have to, we only have at this point 2 armored Humvees, because I think we had lost one that it got shot up on April 17, 2006, which was my live day.
Yep.
Another story.
Which you can see in episode 74.
Yeah, you can see that. And we're going to have to take some unarmored gun trucks, open back. Dudes in the open, and we're going to be on roads that are black. And we can't get everybody on the team in the armored vehicles because of space, So it's like, okay, well, some of us are going to have to ride in the unarmored vehicles in the open backs. And we're going to an area that's black roads. You're going to get hit with an IED. And really, man, the easiest way to describe this is it was our Saving Private Ryan moment, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Saving Private Ryan moment. Like, and I pulled the team together and I was like, hey guys, we've went through a whole lot together, but nothing like what we're getting ready to do. Do you understand what I'm asking you to do? And are you down with it? You don't have to do this. No one's telling us to do this. Our command wasn't directing us to do it. We wanted to do it. Are you guys sure you want to do this? Put everything on the line for these 2 kids from the 101st that we've never met. We don't know. They're not part of our unit. They're part of the Army. They're part of the military. Are you sure you want to put it on the line? And to a man, everyone said yes.
Wow.
We want to do this. We are with you. Man, that's deep. That
Would
touches
you have
my
let
heart.
somebody stay back if they were like, I can't do this?
I would have.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have thought, I swear to God, I wouldn't have thought less of them. It was that dangerous. It was that risky.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought less of them. It was a tough thing, man. And it's not like a macho kind of thing where it's just like, yeah, man. And there's like cool ass music playing in the background and all that stuff. It's not like that at all, man. It's very quiet. And your life starts flashing and we're all, husbands or fathers or sons or, uncles. And like for me, I was thinking like, man, I want to see my son turn into a man. I want to see my daughter get married. I want to walk my daughter down the aisle. Like that hit me, dude. That was on my heart.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, man, if I'm not around, like who's going to do that for her? So that was a very, very deep moment. No cool music. No cool dude talking in the background like there's a decision that needs to be made by the team. They just made it. Like there's nothing like that, man. It's very, very quiet. But while my team leader was working on trying to get the operation approved, I was working on the vehicles and getting everything lined up and trying to figure out how we're going to, who's going to ride where. And I started putting my gear. I was going to do the open back thing because as a team leader, you lead by example. I believe in that. And if, you can't ask your guys to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. So I put my gear, and then I started doing something else. We're messing around with weapons and commo. And then I would come back and my gear was moved. And it was moved to the armored vehicle. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm not going to ride in an armored vehicle when my guys, if any of my guys are in an open back, unarmored, like I'm not doing it. So I didn't know. I just grabbed my stuff from the armored vehicle, put it back in the open back, unarmored vehicle, started doing something else, start working, like, hey, who's doing this? We got the med bag. We're going to need a fucking med bag, and then my gear is gone again. And someone had put it back in the up armored vehicle. And I was like, who the fuck is doing this, man? And then it dawned on me that we started getting more and more Iraqis that were coming to us that was like putting their gear on the vehicles. And I saw it was the Iraqis that were moving my gear to the armored vehicle because they wanted me to be safe.
Wow. And
they were wanting to set in the open backs. And they wanted to be on the mission. They were like, we'll go. And it was the same guys that were with us when we did Morgue Day. Wow. And we recovered their brother. And then all of a sudden, they were there for us. And they wanted to go to Yusufia. Of course, they're all Shia or Kurdish, so they were down to go to a Sunni area to fuck some people up and rescue some Americans maybe. But they just kind of came out of the woodwork, dude. And it hit me in the heart so bad that I almost teared up right then and there. I probably did at some point once they all left, but it really touched my heart. And I just couldn't believe that they did that. And then I realized the reason why they did that is because we did that for them.
Yeah.
And it all came full circle. And then, of course, we submitted the operation and it got disapproved. It was the only mission that we ever submitted that we got disapproved. Wow. And thank God it did, because I probably wouldn't be here right now, or a lot of people on my team wouldn't be here, that would put me in a really bad spot, in a bad headspace. But they said, hey, denied, you're not doing this mission. And once it got denied, I was like, man, our leadership, like, what the fuck? Like, we worked really hard on this, and I was kind of pissed off. But then I kind of understood. I was thinking at the same time, like, all right, they have the full picture, man. They're looking at everything.
Yeah.
We're only seeing a little bit from our little aperture. Like, they got the whole picture. And then our secure line, red phone rang, and it was Sean Swindell, battalion commander. And he's like, hey, man, Daryl, appreciate everything you guys are doing, but there's nothing else for us to do. This is out of our hands. He worded it in a way that was very ambiguous, like, hey, there's nothing to be done. And then once I let that, like, I kind of like thought about it a little bit longer. I realized what he was saying was like, these guys are dead. Like, this is, this is a recovery, and it's not worth risking
more lives.
A whole special forces team, plus their Iraqi surrogates, all that stuff, plus whatever other assets they'd have probably thrown our way. And sure enough, that is what happened. We realized, and they were actually in that general vicinity.
Yeah. Wow.
They did find them in that general vicinity a little bit later, and they had already been tortured and mutilated and decapitated and set on fire and drug around, and it was very heartbreaking. And the video of that disgusted me that they released, Al Qaeda. But as a team sergeant, it was a mission that I never did. We didn't get approval to do it. We were ready to do it. We would have done it. But it's one of my most proudest moments.
Yeah.
As a leader of the team, that this group of guys said, hey, send me.
Yeah.
We'll go.
Man, that is so cool.
Despite the risk.
Yeah.
Black roads.
No, yeah.
We don't really know for sure exactly where they're at. So we're probably going to be, if we even make it there without getting blown up, it's going to be kind of a bad situation. But not only for my team, but for the Iraqis as well.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that.
They didn't have to do that. So that was a very significant moment for me. And it still hits me in the heart.
It reminds me, so I'm just going to, if you know this book, so Who Will Go? So I interviewed this guy, Terry Buckler. So he's a former Green Beret.
Okay.
He was on the Sante raid in Vietnam.
I got to get it.
So they went in deep into enemy territory, a whole bunch of Green Berets. He was the youngest Green Beret on the mission. And as you were describing that scenario, it reminded me a lot about this guy's story, because they were going to rescue like true POWs who had been in some bad conditions for years. And in the end, spoiler alert, they hit a dry hole. But this is like multiple helos, a large contingent of Green Berets who go in, hit a dry hole, they come out. But then they have testimonials from some of the POWs who were there. They had just been moved the day before. And they could hear from where they were moved to the helos coming in the next day. And they didn't get rescued, but it was just like this hope that somebody fucking came to get them, risked all this way behind enemy lines, like very complicated logistical trail to get in.
Yeah.
And just the idea, like somebody did that for us. And it just reminded me of that as you were talking through this.
And that's one of those things that's probably hard to quantify. That it's like, man, maybe they did obviously they hit a dry hole, but like you said, they gave someone hope that maybe was like borderline, man,
I'm done with this.
I can't deal with this torture anymore. Man. But it's like, dude, they might come back for me,
Yeah.
And I think that's where we were like, man, God, I hope it never happens. But if it was me, like I would have that in the back of my mind, like someone's going to come for me, man.
That's how they train us, right? When you go through SEER and everything, it's like hold out as long as you can.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is a tough one. Jeez. So I guess with this, like obviously these stories are in the book. We're only scratching the surface of this. And we didn't even, people can check out the Alive Day story in our previous recording. You did mention that ideally there might be a sequel to this one day, to this book. And that's kind of the next year, which is hard to believe. Like you got 2006 and then the next year, as you've described to me off camera, is even more challenging, but for different reasons.
Yeah. This is a great story, 2006. It's a great story.
It is.
But when you look at 2007, the 2007 combat deployment, we were in Baghdad once again. We had, we were like the tip of the spear. We had the top mission, and we were dealing with ISOF Recce. So once again, we were doing the whole sensitive special operations for impact. We were the main effort for that entire rotation in 2007. And it really, what we did in 2007 really made what we did in 2006 look like kindergarten romper room shit.
And this is the height of the surge at the time?
This is the height of the surge. This is when General Petraeus came in. This is when Bush took the gloves off for the Iranian threat actors. And it was like, let's kill these dudes. Kill capture, like on steroids. So yeah, it was kill capture on steroids. We were the main effort for 10th Special Forces Group. And, we did a lot of human intelligence, and we were a kill capture machine. So, and, we were dealing with Iraqis when you talk about like an informant or a lead or a contact, like these were no shit, like dudes that have been working with Americans for a long time that were recruited, polygraphed, and we had
Vetted
the
to
whole,
the end.
we had the whole country. It wasn't like, hey, you guys have Adamia and you're working out of the Apache house. It was like, you have the whole country of Iraq from the north all the way down to the south. We could reach out and touch anybody.
Jeez.
We were lethal.
Is that rare for an
It is
SF
very rare.
team to be doing that?
Yeah. Well, at that level,
Yeah.
it is. It is because we were, when the Al-Qaeda, like some of the top Al-Qaeda dudes were so good because they just totally dropped off SIGINT and they knew like, hey, if I talk on my phone, I'm going to get it smoked. And then they started doing HUMIT. Well, we weren't really, as a force, we weren't really that strong with HUMIT. That was our strength, was HUMIT, because we didn't get any of the other stuff. So we had to be very good at HUMIT. But we did some incredible operations. There's one that I remember in particular that we did, and this was Dave Roten's target, one of the guys that work for me. He went up to Diyala province, and as ISOF Recce, we were able to. We had an action arms plural. We had Iraqi Special Operations Forces, which was Iraqi SOF, dealing with American SOF Special Forces guys, and then we had Iraqi Counterterrorism Forces that were working with like the top dudes from Special Forces, like the SIF guys that were trained specifically for that. So that's a higher level, counterterrorism force. We had those guys every single night, and they were waiting for us to feed them targets. And we fed them a target. It was so spectacular. It was up in Diyala province, and we knew from the reporting, like, hey, this is going to be a no shit. There's bad guys here. And at that time, it was Bravo 2-3. It was 3rd Special Forces Group, Bravo 2-3. And we loved working with those guys because they were like, we don't give a fuck. Send us where we can kill people. We don't give a fuck where. We loved it, man. That's all we needed to hear. Because you never know, like, hey, man, we want to do some confidence targets, or hey, don't send us on some bullshit. Like, to them, it was like, hey, we don't give a fuck.
Jeez.
Send us where there's bad guys. We'll fucking kill everybody. That's what they wanted. So that's what we delivered, and that's what we gave them. So we had this target set up in Diyala. And
You established this just through HUMIT, the target package.
yes. And we were able to pull some other things, but it was primarily through
gotcha.
HUMIT. And it was, our group headquarters, the Siege of Sodaf, was up in Balad, and that's where Colonel Tovo was. So I had the same
team. I was going to ask you.
same team.
Wow.
Yep. So I went from January 2006, almost getting
Almost
fired.
out.
And then, of course, you read about in the book, we were the Larry Thorney Award, best team in all of 10th Group. And then the next year, we were the main effort in 2007, still working for Colonel Tovo and Lieutenant Colonel Sean Swindell. So this place up in Diyala province was not too far from Balad, which is where Colonel Tovo, and we called it Kill TV, because we were always sending guys out. Like, I was basically farming my guys out. Sometimes they would go on the missions with ISOF and ICTF and 3rd Group or 10th Group. And I would have a couple guys. I would go up to watch Kill TV with Lieutenant Colonel Swindell, who was at BIOP. And then Colonel Tovo was watching Kill TV from Balad.
You're just in the room with all the
assets
flat screens
and all that stuff. So they queue up everything. ICTF flies up there. They do a helicopter offset, and they're walking to the target. And of course, it's like fucking 2 a.m. or whatever time. And we have feed that's over the target, and it's saturated with bad guys. It's saturated. It's like people with weapons on the rooftops, weapons in the vehicles, position, like they have the whole place locked down. Like they are ready. And Tovo sees this and says, hey, And I can't remember what aircraft. It was like a B-1, B-2, whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. But he's calling the ground force commander from Bravo 2-3, the ICTF on the ground commander, and saying, this whole place is saturated with bad guys. I have a B-1 with a fucking 1,000-pound bomb, whatever, like prepared to drop it. Just give me the word. We've had legal look at it. Everything's legit, armed, blah, 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 ready to do it. And Bravo 2-3 says, nope, we got it. We'll take care of it. We got the force. We're ready. They don't know we're here. We'll be there shortly, blah, blah, blah. Because Colonel Tovo was just going to drop everything. And he waved them off. They waved the aircraft off. And it's like, all right, you guys want to do this? And they went in there, Bravo 2-3, with ICTF guys, and they smoked fucking everybody.
Overwhelming numbers?
Overwhelming numbers. I mean, smoked all the armed. There was some friendlies in there too, or some, females and stuff like that,
yeah.
kids. They didn't kill any friendlies, didn't kill any kids. Smoked all the bad guys. I can't even remember how many it was. It was a shit ton. And that was just one of the that was just like one of the operations.
Oh my gosh.
We had guys that there was a down south in a place called Diwania. There was a special forces team that was there that I think they got like blown out of their house. Like they got hit so bad. And they had to, like, everything got destroyed, their gear, their quarters. Luckily, I don't think, maybe somebody got killed. I'm not for sure. But they were getting hammered down there. And it was like, Isofreki, Diwania, what can you do for us down there? And we're just like, calling people up on the phone. And then we would send a report up to Colonel Swindell. It's like, hey, our guys are telling us there's 10 armed dudes getting ready to attack Camp Echo or where the fuck was down there. Blah, blah, blah. If you can get some air support, confirm it. Legal looks at it. And they're like, yep, we just fucking killed all those dudes. And literally, man, we did 7 or 8 months. I think easily it was probably, we were responsible for 400, 500, 600 people.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, it was on massive scale.
Wow.
That was 2007.
Yeah.
That could be the sequel.
Yeah. I like
Maybe.
it. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, so we have been talking off camera, obviously, just about getting your brand almost out there with the book. And, you've been asked to go and speak at different events. What's next for you?
Well, I am trying to share some of these lessons learned. And, the last chapter of the book, it's called the Grit Code. And it's basically these principles, the principles that comprise the Grit Code. It's a blueprint for navigating through the ups and downs of life. That's simply what it is. And there's 8 principles of the Grit Code. And it's, I'll try to name them here real quick. Adopt a no surrender mindset, control what you can control, possess an extreme work ethic, relentlessly execute, calm breeds calm, courage is contagious, embrace innovation, and eradicate arrogance. And as you hear the stories and it's like, man, you kind of hit a hard patch right here. How'd you get through that? Like, I use these principles, and this goes all the way back decades, from humble beginnings in West Virginia, joining the military, joining special forces, fighting in Iraq, to being a senior executive. These are the principles that have helped me navigate through not just the tough times, but the good times as well. Like, hey, I'm sitting right here, I'm doing pretty good, but I want to take it up a notch and go from success to exceptional. I've used these principles from the Grit Code. So I think that I want to share that because it's not just a military or special forces Green Beret. It transcends occupations. Students can use it, just anybody that's navigating through life, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
Adversity is going to hit you. Life's going to punch you in the face, and things are going to come crashing down. You don't get the job. You don't get the promotion. You don't get the pay raise. You and your wife are getting ready to get divorced. Your kids don't speak to you. There's no money in the bank. you're going to get punched in the face. It's going to happen. And these principles, these 8 principles of the Grit Code have really helped me. So I want to share these. And that's kind of getting to your answer the long-winded way.
No, this is great. Yeah.
But sorry about that.
No.
But I really want to start doing some more speaking engagements and start to share some of these stories that I learned the hard way or I learned through failure, because I think people learn. Sometimes they learn better through a couple punches to the face, dude. That's life. And I'd really enjoy sharing these stories and doing some more public speaking. Maybe I do another book, or hopefully this book does really well. I mean, it's a great book. I hope it does. Maybe I do another book. Maybe I do some corporate workshops, and just kind of share these lessons on resilience and leadership and all of that.
When you think courage is contagious, what comes to mind there? Like, is there a moment or two that stick out to you?
Yeah, the first moment that sticks out to me for courage is contagious is April 17th, 2006. And, the 101st had been involved in I think it was a 5-hour firefight when they finally called us and said, hey, we need some help. Like, we're getting short on ammo and these guys aren't going away. Like, they're maneuvering on us. And once again, it was something that we didn't have to do. No one directed us to do it. No one told us to do it. But we had a gentleman's agreement with the 101st. If they ever needed us, we would help them. And same thing. If we ever needed help, they said they would help us. So here they were in their time of need, and they asked us for help. And I felt like we were obligated to respond to that. So this is April 17th, 2006, a live day is the chapter in the book. But, we showed up with 2 gun trucks, a 240 machine gun and a 50 cal, 6 Green Berets and an interpreter, which is not a very big package. That's 3 Green Berets per vehicle. And then my vehicle had the interpreter. That's a very, very light package to really have any ass to really change. But speaking of courage is contagious, and what I think of is when we first pulled up, we met up with the Iraqi army first. That was the first unit. We were trying to find out where our friendlies were before we started fucking killing people. We linked up with the Iraqi army, and when we pulled up, the look on their face was terror, fear, surprise, and then it was kind of like, oh shit, these dudes aren't like, these are the bearded guys, the special forces dudes. And it was almost like shock, because they hadn't seen us in the daylight in a firefight like that.
Point.
They'd seen us at night. We'd show up and help them at night, and we'd fuck stuff up and blow shit up, and stuff would be on fire and smoke. But this is the first time they're seeing us in daylight. And I try to position our vehicles to where we had a little bit of protection, but it was hard to see where everything was coming from. It's we were in an urban environment, and there's pictures in the book that really illustrate the difficulties that we face, because we're in a 360-degree shooting environment, urban, daylight, no air support because of the bad weather. But courage is contagious. Parked the vehicles, and I saw where the Iraqi army, or what I thought was the Iraqi army command post, was. And we're the new people here, we're the new dudes. And I felt like I had to make a conscious decision. How am I going to respond to get out of my vehicle? The problem was my ass was sitting back here, and I needed to go about 150 meters to go to this Iraqi command post. And shit's everywhere. There's fire everywhere. There's RPGs going off, all kinds of stuff, PKM machine guns, AKs. And I made a decision that I wanted to try to calm people down. And I wanted them to see me like, hey, I've been here before, man. I'm not like spiking the ball and freaking out and running around showboating. Like, I've been here before. I'm not scared. I'm ready to do this. I'm with guys that we're ready to do some shit. And I made a conscious decision to briskly walk, but not run, not do a Tom Cruise sprint, because to me, what my experience, when you panic and people see that you're panicked or you're scared, then they get panicked and then they get scared, and then panic scared people do dumb shit, and then dumb shit end up getting people killed. So I calmly but briskly walked around all of that chaos. And I think that was courage is contagious. Yeah. Like, that's my leader. He's risking it. He's putting his ass out there to go link up with these cats, and he's not scared of the situation. And I saw that whole, we ended up being in a firefight for 2 hours. I saw that with my gunners that were exposed in the turret for 2 hours. And when I had to get out of the vehicle to clear obstacles, because the bad guys had put obstacles across the roads, wire and trash and dumpsters or barrels and shit. I think that's courage is contagious. And everybody just kind of feeds off that. Mm-hmm. If I'm like hunkered down, I don't want to get out of my armored vehicle. It's like, but I expect my gunners to be up there in a turret for 2 hours, slinging lead, and then, an hour and 40 minutes in, an hour and 45 minutes into the firefight, it's a 2 hour firefight. My vehicle, the engine block, gets totally shot out and we lose power. And, if I'm turtled up in the vehicle, but I expect somebody to get out of the vehicle and hook up those tow straps and get us out of there. Spoiler alert, there's no AAA roadside assistance in Baghdad. At least there wasn't in 2006. But we didn't panic, man. We were trained. And it goes back to hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. We were trained in doing tow straps and hooking up the vehicles and doing self-recovery.
Yep.
It went back to the basics for us, and we were able to relentlessly execute when it mattered the most. And that was because we had prepared, we had trained for that moment. And you got to prepare, you got to train. You don't rise to the occasion, you rise to your level of training. And we were able to get that shot up vehicle out of there. And we went back to base, swapped it out with another vehicle, got double basic load, and returned to the fight with our brothers. So all of those moments, like that courage is contagious. Everybody feeds off that, and I think that's what I think of.
All that. You're right. So again, we had mentioned this previously, but book's coming out late November, early December,
unless
general
you pre-order
population,
it.
Or you can pre-order it basically by November 11th.
Yes.
Right. And then you can get a signed copy with a coin that's awesome looking that you could see a picture of.
Yeah. You'll get a signed copy, you'll get a challenge coin, and you're going to get it before anybody else.
That is awesome. I am so glad you came out for this, Daryl. Is there anything else we need to do? Well, let's talk your socials. How can people find you online? We'll have it in the description, but how do they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to build up my Instagram. I'm not really a big Instagram. I'm trying to get better at Instagram, but I'm at Darrell.Utt, DARRELL.UTT. I'm primarily on LinkedIn still. That's kind of like my bread and butter. There's not a lot of Darrell Utts on LinkedIn, but I'm at Darrell Utt. And then I don't know how you wanted to do the link for the pre-orders. If you're just going to post that, or
we'll have it in the description that you can find it. But if you're looking, it's at ballastbooks.com, and then search for Grit to Glory.
Yeah, yep, Grit to Glory, and that's what's going to get you that coin and the signed copy.
Awesome. Daryl, thanks so much, man. I'm so glad you made it out here. We finally did it.
I'm stoked.
Congrats on the book.
I'm stoked to be here, man.
Grateful.
I'm indebted to you, man, forever. You're the one that got this whole journey started, so I appreciate you.
The ups and downs. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, you got it.
I hope you enjoyed round 2 with Daryl. That one had a lot more combat in it than I was expecting. I hope you all enjoyed that, and it's just a little taste of what you get in his book. Of course, that's coming out late November, early December. You can get it at ballastbooks.com. I think you are going to enjoy this one if you enjoyed any of what you just heard from Daryl in this episode. But we're hoping for a sequel to cover 2007, which is hard to believe that he said that makes 2006 look like kindergarten work. We, as always, have our newsletter at combatstory.com/newsletter. You can check it out wherever you're at in the world. Hope you have a good rest of your day, week, or weekend. And as always, stay safe.